Welcome back to the off cycle. It's time for yet another update. It's been a while. Another update on the Pursuit 2270 fuel tank and transom replacement. I got the new bulkheads installed. The bulkhead that goes in front of the fuel tank and the one that goes behind the fuel tank. Got those done. They are plywood. They got laminated up with 2 layers of glass and then put in place. And then some thickened polyester resin was laid in there as a fillet, just to get good continuity with everything and get a good transition for being glassed in. Then it was all glassed in with all the corners and edges. Got 3 to 4 layers of chopped strand just for kind of waterproofing those tight to reach areas, the areas that the 1708 is not going to conform to. And then the bulkheads themselves were tabbed in with 1708. Now today I am working on getting, you can see this little panel right here, this green. I'm working on getting the panels for the inside of the skin placed in. I'm working on the center one now, and then I'll be working on the one on the end. I think I'm gonna go ahead and, I'm fitting them both now, but I think I'll probably be glassing in the one on the end, just give me a little bit more access. And then the final one, I'll be doing the center panel as the final panel. But once those are glassed in, I'm gonna do basically glass them in from the exterior, which would be the interior of the transom itself, because I have easy access to it. And then once it's kind of laid up and in place, then I can go ahead and do my fill and then another layer of glass along the seam on the inside. Again, the inside skin is really not structural. It's just kind of there to hold the transom material. So I just got to make sure I get a good seal. And I do want it to look nice on the inside, especially the one on the bilge. It needs to look nice. So I was able to get a lot of the gel coat off on the inside by having access, not having to go down through the hole right here in the bilge. I was able just to remove this panel and reach inside there and get everything, all the gel coat sanded off. So I have some nice, good, fresh glass to cover up the seam on the inside with glass, and then fill it with thickened resin as well. So I don't have a big gouging channel. Get it all smoothed out and then lay glass on top of it. So that's where we're at today. I'll flip around and get you a closer look. So I have this panel here, which is 2 layers of 1708 that was laid up just on a table, on a trash bag, just to get a flat panel. And then just held in there and shaped and trimmed. You know, to get area here, but that's really not a big deal. Piece of glass will lay over that just fine. And then from the inside, once it all sets up, then it'll get another layer, and everything in here will get filled in, and then it will get glassed from the inside as well. The next thing is the more difficult side is going to be this panel here, because it's going to be harder to access from the inside. But with this not glassed in yet, I'll be able to reach in through here and have a little better access, rather than trying to get my whole body down in through here, how I initially got it in, to start cutting away here and finding the rot, and then realizing the rot was just way too much. So again, none of this really structural. This is really, I mean, you can kind of see it flexing there. This is really thin as is. So it's just like 2 layers of glass, really just a skin that was encapsulating the wood. The exterior is really the structural part. So that is going to get glassed in, and we're that much closer to getting this boat back up and running and getting a transom put back on it. Still waiting for the fuel tank. I actually need to call and see the status on that. You can see here the front bulkhead is in, glassed in, and then the rear one back here as well is glassed in. It's glassed in front and rear, and like I said, on the up here the corners, that corner, any edges or anything, several layers of chopped strand, just because it conforms better than 1708, just to prevent all the water intrusion or anything like that. Make sure it's nice and airtight. And then the board itself has a couple layers of glass on it. It's got a layer of chopped strand and a layer of 1708 that has chopped matte on the back of it, so it should be fairly waterproofed. And then the arches themselves have several layers of CSM on it to give it a nice seal. But once all that is, I still need to do a finishing kind of sand on it, and once that's sanded down, then everything back here will get another layer of gel coat. But that's kind of a final step I did also get the stainless steel floor drain scupper valves installed, so no more plastic junk. I got those installed. I have a new, the fuel tank vent was plastic and I guess had failed or something, and somebody decided to put this huge ugly clamshell thing on there rather than just replacing the fuel tank vent. So this is just, it's not actually installed yet, just dry fitted in there. Had to wallow out this hole. I put this flush mount fuel tank vent on here, but I'm not going to install this yet fully. I'm gonna get these, the gel coat out and fix these couple Mars in the gel coat, and without having this on, it gives me a nice surface to sand instead of trying to sand these all individually. I can kind of sand them all at once and polish it out and then install this, but it is fitted. I did have to make a bigger hole for this, which I just used my router with a wood, just a spiral bit, and just wallowed out that hole a little bit bigger for that to fit. This boat also only had one bilge pump, so I went ahead and added a second. These are both new fittings, but went ahead and drilled this hole and added this second outlet for a secondary bilge pump. So I feel like a boat like this really needs to have two bilges. I think any boat that's going to go offshore at minimum should have two. I think every boat should have two bilges, but it's certainly, if it's an offshore boat, it should have two bilge pumps. So one will be on a float, and then one will be on a direct switch on off, so it can be controlled.